Gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Congresswoman Kyrsten Sinema.
Thank you. Well, thank you. It is so good to be here with all of you this morning. And Ann, thank you so much for that kind introduction. It is great to be here with business leaders who are driving growth and generating opportunity in the Tempe community. Thank you so much, Chris, and for the Maricopa Community College team for hosting us today and for the incredibly important work that you do every day to ensure that Arizonans have the skills and tools they need to get ahead. And I appreciate all of you taking time out of your busy schedules to be with me this morning and have some time to talk, because your work is helping lead the way for business growth across the state. You know, my job is to listen and learn from all of you, to figure out what's working, what's not working, and how we can work together to expand opportunity for all Arizonans. So this is my 5th State of the District address, and it is really an honor to be back with you again this year. The Tempe business community is a dedicated partner in the work that we're doing to make Arizona the very best place to live, work, and to grow a business. And every time we get together and talk, I hear the same message loud and clear. To continue to thrive, we have got to put politics aside and work together on real solutions to our challenges. And that's how you all work in your businesses every day, and it's the same approach that I take in representing Arizonans in Congress. We're ready and willing to do anything it takes to get things done, and that makes us a good team. Over the past 5 years, we've had some important successes. A few years ago, I heard from local business owners that the health insurance tax was going to dramatically increase the cost of providing health insurance for their employees, and I knew we had to do something to fix it. So I've led the work to repeal this costly, burdensome tax, and I'm proud to say we've once again successfully delayed the tax from implementation. This is a big win in our work to help businesses succeed and ensure that employees have access to quality, affordable health insurance. But our work is not over, so I'll keep working on both sides of the aisle until we get a full repeal. Similarly, when we heard that the medical device tax would harm local job growth, reduce access to capital, and slow research and development in Arizona, we stood up for common sense. And earlier this year, we delayed the tax for another 2 years. We've also reauthorized the Export-Import Bank to help Arizona companies compete on a level playing field abroad. And we passed our Senior Safe Act to combat senior financial abuse. Our bill has passed the House and the Senate and should be signed into law within the next few weeks. We've reduced and simplified regulations to help small businesses and entrepreneurs grow and hire in Arizona. I'm proud that our approach has delivered real results for Arizona families and businesses. We've accomplished a lot, but we're nowhere near done, because Washington is reaching a level of chaos and dysfunction even I didn't think was possible. We're 3 months into 2018, and congressional leaders have already shut the government down, twice. So we had an opportunity to secure our borders and allow dreamers to stay here in this country, the only country they've ever known. And the overwhelming majority of Arizonans and Americans supported this fix, but unfortunately, leaders in Congress let this opportunity slip right through their fingers. And we saw that Washington dysfunction was at its peak during the past year debate over health reform. You'd think that an issue as important as health care, an issue that touches every family and makes up an especially large part of Arizona's economy, ought to be an area where we can work together to make progress. But hardworking families shouldn't have to choose between putting food on the table and paying for health insurance. But unfortunately, some politicians in Washington are more interested in scoring political points than passing real solutions, all while health care is still out of reach for too many Arizona businesses and families. So just recently, Congress left town once again without making fixes to our health care system, and that was a mistake, because businesses in Arizona need relief, and it's Congress's job to deliver those solutions. Everywhere I go, people tell me that they're frustrated with Washington. And when I talk to Arizonans, they tell me they're fed up with the chaos and the infighting. You know, they're thinking about putting gas in their car and sending their kids to college. And they're worried that, really for the first time ever, that their kids won't have a better life than the life that they've had. So while they're trying to pay bills and take care of their kids, they see a bunch of politicians in Washington just fighting each other instead of getting things done. No wonder they're fed up, because those in Washington just don't seem to get what it's like for the rest of us in the country. So many of the struggles that everyday Arizonans face are personal to me because I've lived them too. Many of you know I went through tough times growing up. My family struggled to make ends meet, and for a while, we were homeless. So I know what it's like to go without a meal and not have health insurance. I mean, heck, we didn't have running water for a long time. But when my stepdad got a job, our family made it out of poverty. And I went to college because I knew that a good education would ensure that I had access to a good job. And just like in my life, the chance to make a better life for everyday Arizonans all comes down to good-paying jobs. And that's why we need leaders who are focused on getting the job done, not on scoring political points for one party or for the other. Every year, I get named one of the most independent members of Congress. That's probably no surprise to all of you in this room, because everybody knows that I'll work with anyone, literally anyone, to get things done. And these days, I'm working on pragmatic, realistic actions that we can take to spur economic growth that leads to good-paying jobs in Arizona. First, we're working on outdated regulations that keep Arizona's small businesses from growing and hiring more workers. So we're cutting red tape and we're bringing Washington up to the speed of Arizona's small businesses. Second, Arizona entrepreneurs, startups, and technology companies face too many obstacles before they can bring their cutting-edge products to the market. So we're inspiring Arizona innovation and helping create good-paying tech jobs across the state. And third, we've got to ensure that every Arizonan has the skills needed to compete in today's global economy. So we're working to prepare our kids and our current workers with the tools to become a 21st century workforce. Small businesses across our state want to expand. They want to create jobs and bring their products and services into new communities. But too often, these companies are held back by old, tired Washington regulations. First International Bank, right here in Scottsdale, told me that they struggle to meet and manage these outdated regulations. This community bank is a valuable partner for local small businesses, and they provide critical access to capital. The needs of small businesses have changed dramatically in the last 23 years since First International has been in Scottsdale, but our regulatory system has not kept pace. The bank's president here in Arizona, Greg Miskovsky, he told me that many regulations are well-intentioned, but that they stifle our ability to make loans to small businesses seeking to expand and hire new workers. So I knew we needed to strike a balance so that banks like Greg's can continue to support small businesses. So my bill, the Comprehensive Regulatory Review Act, finds that balance and has Greg's support. So our bill requires federal agencies to evaluate financial regulations and make sure that they work for modern companies. Based on this review, agencies will have to update their rules to fit today's business and consumer environment, which will cut red tape and free up capital in communities like Scottsdale and Tempe. So we passed that bill through the House of Representatives last month, and now we're working on the Senate. And I'll keep working until we get that bill to the President's desk. Supporting small businesses also means creating an environment that inspires Arizona innovation. We know that Arizona is a great place to turn an idea into a successful business. Arizonans with fresh, out-of-the-box ideas are making our state a top destination for cutting-edge innovation and investment. So our bill, the HALOS Act, supports angel investors who find and fund promising startups. Our bill makes it easier for investor groups to sponsor demo days, where startups can share their ideas with businesses, academic, and investment communities. These early networking opportunities are critical for startups to get their feedback on business ideas and to meet potential future investors. We passed the HALOS Act through the House recently, and we're working to get it through the Senate. Our state is home to amazing companies at the cutting edge of their technologies. One of these companies is Tucson's HTG Diagnostics. HTG has pioneered technology that performs gene testing in as little as 24 hours. HTG's technology enables doctors to quickly and accurately determine the best treatment for patients who are grappling with unexplainable symptoms or illnesses. Washington should be tearing down roadblocks so that HTG can bring its life-saving breakthroughs to every lab in the country. But instead, there are arbitrary rules that hold back this company and holding back other emerging biotech companies with expensive and unnecessary audits. So I introduced the Fostering Innovation Act. It's bipartisan legislation to allow emerging growth companies to invest their dollars into research and development instead of unnecessary audits so they can get their products to market. We passed this bill through the House, and we're working to get it through the Senate. Arizonans are hardworking and resourceful, but to stay competitive in today's global marketplace, we must ensure that our workers develop the skills that modern companies need. From kindergarten through high school, we need to provide Arizona students with a solid foundation that prepares them for a good-paying job or a college degree. In 2016, Arizona's voters set aside $3.5 billion for our state kids. And I worked with Senator John McCain to protect that money that Arizona voters directed to our schools. Working together to improve Arizona's schools is common sense, but Arizona has a lot of work yet to do for our kids to get the education they deserve. And I'll continue to work hard to ensure that Arizona students are prepared for success. To stay competitive in our global marketplace, many Arizonans need to build new skills right now. Startups and tech companies like HTG are looking for employees who compete in the 21st century workforce. So we need more apprenticeship programs and skills training to help everyday Arizonans learn while they earn and ensure that we're helping workers transition to higher paying careers. With your help, I know we can put these ideas into action and bring more good-paying jobs to Arizona. Washington is certainly dysfunctional, but I'm working with good people in both parties to get stuff done every day. And I'll continue to work on these 3 priorities, but I want to do more. So I'll be traveling across the state this month, listening to business leaders about the challenges and opportunities they're facing. And I want to hear directly from you about how we can bring more jobs to our state and then work together to make those ideas a reality. Last year, shortly after the 2016 election, many of you asked me what I thought would happen in Congress. And I told you the honest truth. Nobody knows. But it's been a roller coaster since then. But one thing I can say that I know for sure, the way forward has never been more clear. We desperately need leaders who will put country ahead of party, who will stop the fighting, and who will work together to find common ground. We know that real progress is only achieved when we put aside our differences and focus on solving problems. We're practical people. We understand what it means to roll up our sleeves and get to work. But politicians in Washington don't realize that the answers we need aren't based on one party being right and the other party being wrong. Frankly, Arizonans don't care if you have an R or a D next to your name, as long as you get the job done. And I'm one of the most independent members of Congress. That's helped me cut through the chaos and get the job done for Arizona businesses and families time and time again. And I'm so grateful to be able to represent all of you, and I look forward to getting even more stuff done for Tempe and for Arizona. So thank you so much for having me here today, and thank you for your work on behalf of our great state.